So unless you were living under a rock or unless you're living in South Carolina, like, you know, Lee here, you'll know that the Oscars was on Sunday, March 2nd. And
I know about it. What? Go
um
ahead. Go
but
ahead.
we've done a few episodes where we've reviewed movies that were in contention for the Oscars. I mean, two of the big ones were Conclave and Amelia Perez, and Lee did a brief video where he explained what Oscar bait was, so check that out if you haven't yet. And then I did a video with guest Dara Sanders where we chatted about our predictions for for Sunday's winners. But I don't want to.
Did you project Nora to win?
I did not. Honestly, I was leaning on our discussions of Conclave. I thought,
Conclave was going to win that. Come on.
I mean, look. I mean, stranger things have happened. I mean,
that's true. That's true.
I mean, look. It was obvious Amelia Perez was never going to win, right? You explained it yourself in the last video. It was pure Oscar bait. Like, and frankly, I think everybody could sort of smell it a mile away. No, I did make a prediction that Zoe Saldana would win Best Supporting Actress in for this year's Oscars. I wasn't disappointed, and I wasn't too surprised because the field wasn't. I mean, it wasn't really that contentious unless you include Isabella Rossellini from Conclave, and then and then Conclave, surprisingly, it really didn't factor that much. I mean, my man Ralph Fiennes didn't get anything. I mean, he did get nominated, but he didn't get walk away with an award. But I guess the consolation prize was best writing under adapted screenplay for Conclave. So I guess you can be thankful for some small miracles. I was gonna say Anora is one of those movies that really, really surprised me because I did watch it a week before, and I can only describe it to you in 3 words: tits and ass. Obviously, it's a movie about a stripper, so you are going to see her tits. But it's one of those movies where when you watch it, you have to ask yourself, how exactly did this win? Like, are we watching the same movie here? Now, Lee,
I did not watch Nora, just FYI. So,
no, I did want to get your quick take on this because because like I said, we did look at Conclave and Amelia Perez. Were you surprised that none of these movies kind of raked in more awards than they should have, or were you just kind of meh?
I'm honestly, I feel like for the most part, it just feels like when it comes to the Oscars, we're just like moving further and further away from, I guess, what most audiences are expecting to see, right? I think if you went up to like the lay person, right, that's like watching this type of stuff, they would probably like, what's a Nora? What's Amelia Perez? Like, these are all things that to me, like, you're not really expecting, and you're not seeing a whole lot of people like really get behind this. These are obviously not the popular picks, which is fine, right? Like, just because something's popular definitely does not make it good. I think we've seen that with just how popular superhero films are and the huge drop in, I would say, quality is with all that. But I feel like as we've moved further and further away, we start to see, kind of some of these, films that are getting out there that are going to surprise a lot of people. I mean, sometimes I, really enjoy them. I think of something like Parasite that won a few years back that I thought was great. But then we see like kind of other productions that I think a lot of people are like scratching their heads on, like, how did that win? Like, what was going on there? So I just feel like it's very much a mixed bag where I think it is always nice to see like smaller films getting the recognition that they deserve. But then it almost feels like some of these films are like, they're just so niche that it's like only like a very small subset of people are actually watching them and enjoying them. And they end up like kind of getting projected out there when maybe they're not all that great. Like, I mean, we talked about Amelia Perez, right? I mean, to me, that's not even remotely worthy of any type of Oscar contention for me personally, right? Like, I watched it, I'm like, this is totally a miss for me. Don't like it, don't like the characters, don't like much of it. I do definitely agree with you. I think Zoe Saldana was great in that for what she was as a supporting actress, but I mean, I don't think it takes away from just kind of everything else that was going on. So I definitely do want to check out Anora. I do want to give it a shot. It's been on my watch list for a while, but yeah, I was kind of bummed to see because I definitely like Conclave out of the ones that I watched. So I was, would like to see more from that. But it's the Oscars. At this stage, you just kind of roll with it.
I mean, I was telling Dara this when we did our Oscar prediction episode. What we're seeing now in in the Oscars is you're not seeing that many quality films out there. You're maybe seeing one or two, right? And it's one of those things where it's like it's kind of slim pickings, really. You kind of have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to see what you can find. It's not like the Oscars from like the early 2000s where like every film in the category was like, oh, like maybe it can win or maybe it's going to be by a close margin. I mean, the one that comes to mind is like the 80th Academy Award from like 2007. I mean, you had movies like There Will Be Blood or No Country for Old Men or or The Savages or Lars and the Real Girl, like, or Atonement. And movies like that, when you look at them, you're like, I mean, you can definitely understand like how they could be classics and how good they are. Whereas now it's like, with this year's Academy Awards, it's like, you really got to choose between Anora, which is about a stripper, Amelia Perez, which is about a transgender drug kingpin, Conclave, which is about, a cardinal who can't figure out if he's, liberal or conservative or whatever. Or a 3-hour movie like The Brutalist, where you kind of fall asleep 30 minutes in, which is what I did. So it's one of those things where what we see in the Academy Awards is kind of an indicator of where filmmaking is going. Now I hope it's just a temporary thing. I hope we can bounce back, and I hope we can see more and more great movies make the cut like they did 20 years ago. But it's just one of those things where it's like, they kind of have to hit rock bottom before they know they need to go back up. If that makes any sense.